Okay, let's give you guys some more examples of parametric equations. So get yourself a graph plotter and punch this in. You should get this curve. Different graph plotters will work in different ways. So you probably have to figure it out for yourself for your graph plotter. Maybe you can just try punching this in. It might even work. Okay. So let's try and understand why it gives us this when we punch this into our graph plotter. So our old way of drawing graphs would be to have x and y. When x is 1, y is whatever. When x is 2, y is blah blah blah. When x is 3, y is blah blah, and so on. It is the x that's driving everything. Now, when it comes to this, it is a t that's driving everything. So we're going to plot it from time. We can imagine this t as being time from time 0 to 2 pi. Now remember, this thing here is not an angle. It is the time. We are now imagining this thing as time. So from time 0 to time 2 pi, it is a time, not an angle in this case. Okay, so remember, this thing here represents the x direction. This thing here represents the y direction. So when you look at this, let's try and understand where our initial point will be. When time equals 0, this thing here will be 0. When you put 0 into the t here, this thing here will be 3 times 0 will be 0. Cos of 0 is 1. So our initial point will be 0, 1. Would be 0, 1. So this is our starting position here. This here is our start. So let's try and understand what's going on here. We start here. Now let's look in terms of the x direction. Well, sine t would look like this. So from time, so we are now looking at this. So from time 0 to 2 pi here. So this is in terms of time, remember. So it is a time that's driving everything. So if you look at this here, this is telling us the x direction. This is telling us the x direction. If you look at this here, it's going. You start from here, and then you're going to the maximum of 1. You're going to the maximum of 1. What that means is, remember, this is telling us to move in the x direction. So if you start here, you're moving in the x direction towards 1. So look, you're heading towards 1. Hang on. So that's you doing this, heading towards 1, the maximum x direction. Now from the maximum, you're going to go down to 0. So from the maximum, you're going to go down to 0, which would be right here. So from here, you're going to the maximum of negative 1 in the x direction. So that would be to the maximum of negative 1 in the x direction. So that will then take you to here. And then the last part here would be from the very left, which is negative 1, you're going to go back to 0. From the very left, you're going to go back to 0. So that's why. So you've got to think of it in terms of the x direction. Now let's look in terms of the y direction. Remember, this thing here is telling us to move in the y direction. Now, this thing here, in the period time of 0 to 2 pi, we're going to have 3 cycles. 1, 2. Oh, sorry, hang on. Cos, isn't it? Sorry, hang on. So in a period of 2 pi, we're going to have 3 cycles, and cos starts at 1. So it's going to be 1, 2 cycles, and 3 cycles. Okay, so let's try and understand what's going on. Remember, we start here. So remember, this thing here is telling us to move in the y direction, in the up and down direction. So we're starting at the maximum 1, which is maximum 1. And then, okay, we're going to go down to 0. We're going to go down to 0. So that will then take us to here. And then from 0, we're going to go to the very, very bottom. To the very, very bottom. And then now from here, we're going to move to a height of 0. We're going to move to a height of 0. And then from the height of 0, we're going to move to maximum height. Now we're going to move to maximum height. And then from maximum height, we're going to head towards 0 again. We're going to head towards 0 again. And then from 0 again, we're going to head towards negative 1. we're going to head towards -1. And then from -1, we're going to go back to a height of 0. From -1, we're going to go back to the height of 0. From a height of 0, we're going to go to a maximum height of 1. From 0, we're going to go to maximum height of 1. And then from the maximum height of 1, we're going to go back to 0. We're going to go back to 0. And then from 0, we're going to go back to maximum of -1. -1 here. And then from here, we're going to go back to 0. From here, we're going to go back to 0. And then from here, we're going to go back to maximum height of 1. We're going to go back to maximum height of 1. So in a period of time, remember, this is time here. Time is driving everything. Well, I hope you understand it. I will give you another example in the next video. Okay.